Hi, this is Pete in the shop, and we are looking at the Farmer BackBeat backpack played drum kit. We're going to go in depth and take a look at all the routing options and kind of how to get it set up. So first of all, you might need a case. We don't offer any cases at the moment, but here is an SKB hard plastic case. It is the 23 by 23 by 12, and it's pretty nice because it fits perfectly our BackBeat. Let's go ahead and take this one out. This is actually all stowed away. Might not be the way you want to stow it, might not be the best way to stow it, but this is an opportunity just to take a look at it when it's all scrunched up. First, we're going to unleash the spurs, and attached to it is the straps, the hip straps. You're going to want to make sure to engage with the memory lock down here and tighten that up. It should be preset to have this bottom part of the hip waist kind of stretched out. And if you need to adjust it, it's again good to have a little bit of a give on that, but not too much that your back is going to hit the side. So now we can stiffen it up. And we're going to notice that this is kind of the narrower hip version, or somebody like myself, this is about a 34 waist or so that fits comfortably for me. If you wanted to make it a wider stance, you can, and you just swap out your spurs so they're curving outward, taking your drum key and just changing out the position of these brackets that mount the hip strap, and you get a much wider stance. And of course our straps can get on there, so if you're a bigger person, that would be able to fit you. If you are a smaller person, you can also bring this hip thing up a little bit more and reduce the overall torso length. So let's go ahead and take a look at the inside. Right now we have our hi-hat mast with our 2 levers. And in this case, I'm going to come up and undo the 1-inch tube from the mount. I'm going to be careful on that tip as I bring it down. And here we go. We've extracted. This might come tied off, but this is just a little pouch of goodies that we're going to call our cords. And these cords sometimes have pulleys attached to them. And the pulleys might be a little bit rambunctious inside, so you're going to want to find a way to sort of isolate them. We're going to put this back on, and we're going to note something here. We have a memory lock at the bottom, and this memory lock has a bolt side, which is now facing me. And I'm going to bring that in so that it matches with the locking mechanism or the shape underneath to lock that in. And we're going to match it so these both are facing each other, this wing bolt and this tension rod on the other side. So once I do that, I know this is not going to swivel, and it's exactly where I want to have things placed. So next thing, we're going to bring up our memory locks that are engaging with our brackets for the L rods. Now, the way you stow everything, again, you can take this off the rod too and maybe have a little less interference with potential scratching and what have you. For this particular customer, we have a thumb strum up top. And again, this is that pulley I was talking about. And this is our rod mounted pulley systems. We have a lot of different kind of pulleys around here. And this one in particular is mounting to our 10.5 millimeter rods. You want to get things positioned so that you have a nice, good, clean flow of a line that comes up to this particular lever. I'm going to go ahead and put my drumstick in. You notice you can put your rope on the inside or the outside of that rope. Either way will work, and it's usually best for whatever is best for the routing. If this is not being able to latch, you can loosen it up once, or of course tighten it up to get a strong push. It's a quick release, so it should be pretty nice and easy. So what I have here is that thumb strum with a little bit of movement along this cord length right here. And I also have movement in our upper portion of the lever. So come in close here to note, what you want to do is you want to pull the bolt out so that you can twirl it and wrap that cord around the nut. Pull out, turn, pull out, turn. You get 6 stops before it kind of comes back in to a fixed position, and you won't have to worry about it coming unspooled. So that is another way to adjust that. So in this case, on our right-hand side, I have what might be considered our thumb strum or our right wrist kind of anchor. And what it's going to do is a neat feature. It's going to be downstroke snare and your upstroke as a snare drag. So with one motion, you can actually play some drum rolls or skips and gallops. Now, the feeling of this dribble back is relegated by the spring tension that is set with this red knob back here and where that spring is anchored. This might just get a little ghost hit or just a little slow dribble, and maybe I'm just gonna have a little ghost hit. Just a little touch at the end, or this one's gonna be a tight one. And again, you notice that when it moved this one, it actually moved this one. So I'm gonna bring that one back up so that it has a nice good throw from my downstroke. So here's our downstroke with a little dribble. So kind of a neat effect. So how am I gonna do that with, I have 2 ropes? Well, this is your more of a macro adjust for your thumb strum, and that's our downstroke. And that might hang down over your guitar or over your shoulder, depends on where you like it. But once you find where you like it there, you're gonna find that that's good and secure. You're gonna go ahead and tighten that off. And this is just simply wrapped around with a loop. So I'm gonna make sure that that is up, but we have a lot of slack now. So how do we take out that slack on this one? We're gonna come up here. I'm gonna make sure to pull, and then I'm gonna wrap. Now I'm gonna make sure that this string is on the inside of that. I'm gonna make sure that it's all the way out and it's got a good little cord wrap. So here we go. Keep wrapping around until that cord is kind of taken down. Now you can sort of see that I got a little bit tangled up. So I'm actually gonna take it, make it loose, and make sure I got enough string distance and all this stuff. Okay, so coming back over here, got to a better spot where now they're both at that sort of same tension. I'm gonna make sure that spring is down a little bit so it's hitting the end. So that's just ways you wanna do with string tension. You can do that again, dropping down on your left foot, and that's wrapping this loop down onto this one by dropping it down. So we're going to just do a quick little drop down. Come through the hi-hat. It looks like I probably want to give it a little bit more room, so I'm going to pull that knob, let it rotate out a few times, pull that cord down, and then I'm going to come down through here and I have that loop. I'm going to go ahead and adjust this up. I'm going to be able to wrap that on there. Okay, so now on my downstroke of the hi-hat pole, now again, when you're rerouting chords, you really got to look around and try to see where there's friction spots. I can't guarantee that there are not going to be any friction spots through some of these routings, but you can really mitigate that by rotating or finding different ways to set your pulleys so that they can kind of contend with as least amount of friction as possible. Again, you have other rollers that can allow you to sort of find creative ways to put rollers on the L rods. You have rollers on your 1-inch down tube, and of course you have rollers kind of situated down inside of your bass drum. So lots of different ways to do it. Once you get maybe a little bit more developed about how you like to have your chord routing system set up, you might be even able to take this off and just adjust it through this top rope here so you don't have anything flying in the way of your chest area as you pull down with your thumb strum. Again, this is only if you're playing guitar. If you're playing an accordion or a ukulele or any other instrument, stand-up bass, clapping your hands, you can do whatever you want. We're just trying to give you the routing systems that tend to be common for the people who've been purchasing our drums. The other chord on this one looks like it's coming down around here, and what we're going to do is we're going to drop it. This customer said he wanted to have this rope, this other stick, being played simultaneously with his foot. So we'll give you a little taste of what that would look like. And we're going to drop it in here. We're going to drop it all the way down. But before I drop it down to that hole, we need to add what was in that pouch. For most BackBeat orders, you're also going to get an extra string, just in case you want to have a different length for some reason, or you want to do some 2-for-1s or something that's pretty nuts. There's a lot of different opportunity. However, this one is much like your bass drum one, and it has a foot strap and a large clip that you can do while you're bending over around by your feet to clip that in. And of course, the top portion that will be hooking into our system here at the top. But first, before I do, put that off to the side, we're gonna get our bass cord that we have stowed down here for you around the bottom feet, so that we can have a little bit better access to the area down below. Okay, this is particularly set up so your right foot is playing the bass, and the left foot, as I bring this cord up through the hole where the roller is, I'm going to also mount it right to the top clip. I'm going to wrap that little loop. Lap that little loop. So that's pretty snug on there. And now I have my other cord adjust here and my cord adjust here for my bass foot. But back to the lever and the cord pull. This one's particularly neat because we can do it in 3 different spots. You can put it right in the back there and have that be as the bass drum goes backwards, or you can put it on the front end of this lever and duplicate the same hit as the bass drum, or you're going to do it like this customer had requested. Bring it down this little roller hole and tilt this back. You're going to notice that we have a little adjustable knob here, and that is underneath, and this adjustable knob is attached to the cord that is your hi-hat, and we had that loop that was coming down from the lever. So I'm gonna loop that on there, and now that that is looped on, if I was to pull down with my left foot, I would get a stick that is coming up. Also, I'd get my hi-hat or my jingle ring or whatever coming down. So right now that would be a really loud, clamorous hit of your hi-hat and maybe a little bit of a different kind of effect. Of course, these sticks can be played in any number of ways. So now it's going to be a release hit up on top of the hi-hat potentially, if this is set up to do that. So these are different ways in which to route your chords. But let's go ahead and take a look. This is our 2-lever setup. Let's go ahead and take a look at a 4-lever setup. A little more complex. Okay, so this one, you're really transforming your body and connecting it to a drum. And in order to do that, we just have to find the common motions that your body might have while wearing a backpack blade drum kit and perhaps another musical instrument, or just taking a stroll or what have you. So the way I'm going to describe this is that we have a lot of different routing options of the chord. This particular case, we have the same sort of lengths of rope. This is a 36-inch length of rope coming off. This is a 30 or 51-inch rope coming down, and this is the same thumb scrum as we had on the other one. But then we have our 31-inch cord coming in and draping off of that last stick in the bag. And in this particular case, this 31-inch cord, instead of dropping down through the hole like it was on this other 2-lever setup, this one is just going to come down through here, and depending on where you have this set up, you're going to come back in here and adjust the cord length, so they're pretty much at the same level. If you have your springs set up, and again, I can move these levers so to have a larger or a shallower hit, or a more of a rebound and really hit that really tight roll, or I'm going to loosen that up and have a really loose roll. this is how you find that little touch, or of course you can move your drum up and down, engaged with the memory lock here. So probably want to bring that down a little bit. That's kind of a hard pull. And of course you have a spring here too. So if you're pulling 2 strings, perhaps you might want to kick back that spring load on both of the levers so that you don't have to work too hard to get that adjusted. Again, I'm going to make sure that they're both pulling at the same tension so that I can get that feel nice and right on that thumb. So this might be an interesting way to set up your kit, just to kind of have the double thumb strum and have it coming over your right shoulder as you are strumming a guitar, or perhaps not. Another way that we'll give you is another roller. And again, definitely for the 4-pedal or the 4 lever plus the 2 foot levers for a total of 6, it gets complicated. So we're going to give you some rollers that give you a little bit of options. One of those options is to take out your tension rod and kind of massage that over to the rod here. And I'm going to set it up so that the roller is rolling all the way to my innermost lever. And that one is going to be free and clear to let you pull outward. We've referred to this movement as the chicken wing, as in if you were to pretend you were a chicken flapping your wings, the motion you might make while playing might look a little bit like that. And you can leave it on there if you want, but if I was to take it and put it in a case, you would probably want to loosen stuff up and tuck things around. I'm going to make sure this is at the right level. I'm not going to have too much resistance along the way. It's traveling up all the way through that. So again, if I was to put this around my elbow perhaps, put it around my elbow, I could kind of have a punching motion in that direction. I could also have it come up if for some reason I could find a way to have something lifting up over my head. So that is an option for that. On this other side, I decided just to put in an egg shaker. It's going to come with the 4 16-inch drumsticks that can be from a 5A, 5B, or a 7A, 7B. They'll be able to be accommodated on this. But we also sell egg shakers, jingle sticks. Even if you have maybe a maraca at home, you could even maybe file that down if you need to and add 2 different percussion items. So you could have a butterfly effect of 2 egg shakers to get a louder sound, or maybe 2 jingle sticks to really rattle that up. This might be connected to the neck of your guitar. We have a Velcro strap that can go around the tippy top neck, or perhaps again you could take that off and put it around your elbow so you can clip in and out of things rather fast. This is of course our adjustable length, and it's a little easier to do it when you have it on and you get it set up. But again, you can tie this off with a knot and then do some of that adjustment up on the lever itself so you don't have this metal kind of flying around. Now that is going to cover, basically you have your bass drum on your right side again, or your hi-hat, or in this case, kind of have a bright clumpy sound. This is a seed rattle made out of wood, and these are just a jingle ring, and just kind of emphasize that there's lots of different ways you can create that kind of sparkly crunch sound, that hi-hats, tight and crisp kind of sound. And sometimes when you have 2 hi-hats in there and they're starting to jambalaya all together and you're trying to walk, it can get a little bit cacophonous. So there is an opportunity that you can use this for a different kind of sound, and I'll show you the next drum what that different sound could also look like. We have a splash cymbal over here, but you could put up to a big ride cymbal if you feel like carrying that the big load, because if you have a big object here and you want to hit it in different spots, all you need is your drum key to loosen up your brackets up here, and you can move things side to side, up and down. There's lots of opportunities to get a little bit crazy with it. I don't even know what some of the options or opportunities are, because I haven't had a lot of time playing these out in the open, but I know that this crowd of BackBeat Play drum kit owners are a lot of DIY folks, and so there's a lot of opportunity here to sort of craft the different vision you have. Of course, if you wanted to make this longer, we have a bearing over on this outside. And this outside bearing, if I was to unknot the edge of this bracket, take all of these cords out, loop it right through that bracket again, and reapply all this stuff, I might have an upward pull, and that might be an upward swing of your guitar. And we can take a look at that in the next drum a little bit as well. This is an overlay of this drum, but it just as easily, it could be this drum. So it's also another 4 lever up top and 2 at the bottom, but with a slightly different kind of setup. So from time to time, you may need to reroute your cord. And by rerouting your cord, you're gonna take off this thumb nut. It's kind of anchored inside of this lever. So I can use that, turn it off. Now note, you're gonna have a red thumb nut, and you're gonna have a C-spring locking washer and this finish washer. We'll go ahead and take a look at those when we put them back on. So I took off the rope. And what I'm gonna wanna do is rethread back through some of these different pulleys, and you can get into a kind of a different line of how you're gonna do it. Let's say I want this to be the neck push out of my guitar. So I'm gonna add that to the back, and then I'm going to add a little tiny wrap over. In fact, I'm gonna do it like that. I'm gonna make sure it's on the inside of this little bolt right there. I'm gonna add this finish washer so it's cupped on the inside. And I'm gonna cup it so it's pushing onto that nut. And I have a C-spring locking washer. Put that right there. And then I have a thumb nut. Red thumb nut. I don't want any of this tail to be really hanging out much. So I'm gonna tuck that into the nut. And since that's captive, I can really crank on that red thumb bolt. You wanna make sure that's good and tight. Now it's on the inside of that bolt right there, and that kind of helps your rope be captive. I'm gonna bring this back. I'm gonna make sure it's on the inside of this drumstick, because when I coil this, when I pull and I start my coiling to take up some slack, I wanna make sure that it's kind of coiling on that inside. So right now, I'm probably for every click or two, I'm getting a 1/4 or 1/2 inch. And right now I'm taking about 4 or 5 inches up off of that rope, and I'm making sure that it's kind of remaining captive. There's a spring in there that when you pull it out, it can become loose, but when you push it in, it is locked. So that is how you'll want to coil these ropes up to get new lines, or if you just want to replace your line, or if you even want to take out that extra slack, cut off the extra end, you can have a different shorter length rope that can get you to where you want to go with hooking this to your body. Let's go over that. This is the same thumb strum. Might be coming down of the downstroke on your right hand. And this might be your kind of crashy ride stuff. And as you pull up, you engage whatever you mount over here. In this case, we took off the Omni mount that comes with it, and we just put a big cowbell. So just that motion alone, we put this roller, instead of over here for a right elbow, we put it up here for an upward guitar. Again, we also have a bearing over there to get another sort of range of motion through that. And of course up here, these rollers also need to line up with the rest of the runs that you're hoping to do. In this case, we could also add that roller to one of these rods up here and maybe have a case where you're pulling outward in that direction. Maybe you're an accordion player, and that's a nice way to kind of get that motion going in that direction. Again, just adding with your drum key, you can rotate it, move it up here, move it over there. Anywhere along these 4 points, you have the motion to create a pull of a chord. Now, if you're a left-footed player, you're obviously going to want to be doing a swatcheroo. So your bass drum might be on your left foot and your hi-hat on the other. In this case, it's really simple to do. This is just attached really with a magnet that allows you to take that off, and you take that off and switch it around with your bass roller. Loosening that, you can get a slower pit or a less of a swing or more of a swing. Here is the tension that is on this bass. By loosening the two thumb nuts, you can relieve or tighten the tension. But in this case, we have our 31-inch long cord coming down from the top. If I was to take that off, you would see that it is the third inner lever, and I have it set so it's coming up and playing the bass. But again, I'm going to drop this through the hole, and let's say we put it to the front of the bass. So when I hit with my bass cord, I was getting kind of a ghost hit or a dribble effect with this release of the bass drum. Bass drum goes down, stick goes up, and then it releases on the downstroke. So that's just another opportunity and different kind of routing. There's a little extra cord for some of these projects to expand if you want them in the bag. But overall, there's just a lot of different tools that allow you to customize what you want to do. Up here we have what you might call a shell roller that you also find on our FourPedal. We have here a rod mounted roller, and of course a 1-inch diameter tube roller, different kind of strapping buckles. These allow cords to be either adjustable or connected to each other. We have some leather that we can cut some different items for you, and of course the clips to the ropes that allow you to kind of get connected to your drum. If you need anything else from us, just let us know and we're happy to ship those out for you. The other version of this drum that is kind of fun is also in our FourPedal. The FourPedal is actually set up to be played by these 4 pedals that connect to the bottom of this drum that has a metal counter hoop. It really allows for a lot more room on these pedals as opposed to a wood one. So this FourPedal would come like this with the straps over here coming down into a pair. So you would connect these to the tip of the pedal and you would activate your 2 sticks up top. Depending on what you have up there, this is what it would hit. Now, if you were to take these off, you can now probably have these looped up. If you were to buy our conversion kit, you would come with straps and the more of the neck mounting. And once you mount that onto there, you would have some extra elements that would snap onto like your bass drum to connect that to your feet or to your hi-hat. You could even connect them to the side of these pedals and connect these to your feet and play the sticks in that manner. These bearings on the side might allow you to do that stick hit, so you have an upward stroke and a downward stroke coming off the neck of your guitar. And in this case, you might have one of the pulleys that you have coming with this kit coming down, and you would have your thumb strum coming down off of this rear 4th outermost lever. The kits come pretty much as is with the lever count that you want up top. It's got the bracketing and of course the Omni mount and some of the different ways that you can mount what we would recommend being a 10-inch simple snare. And this is a really lightweight, nice, good, snappy little snare. And Sabian makes a pair of 10-inch mini hats. And if you're carrying weight on your back for a long period of time, that is where you're going to save the most sort of weight, is also in getting those hi-hats up there, or maybe you just stick with a jingle ring. That jingle ring over there is a nice feature because some people don't want to have that clangorous sound, so you have so that way you can have your hi-hats and a jingle ring and some of the configuration therein depending on how you have it hit. Feel free to let us know if you have any questions. There's a lot going on here. There'll be minor changes along the way, but I hope they're all for the good in creating the music that you hope to do while connecting a drum set to your body. The former backpack played BackBeat drum kit. All right, what we got here is the Farmer BackBeat Performer 4. It's got 4 different levers at the top, and of course the 2 that are attached to my feet. So just kind of going over everything. On my left side, I have 2 of these little snaps connected to the neck of my guitar. I suppose I could also be hitting these with my arms as well. It really is just this sort of direction going outward. You can hear the crash cymbal, so I'm going to be pushing in that direction. Whoop. That's the crash, going upwards and outwards. I can also just do it with my arm, kind of like a chicken wing effect. And then the downward motion is the snare, in this case, just the way I have it all set up. On my right hand side, I have a downward stroke of the snare and then a release of the snare. So I can kind of get actually a snare roll. And I have it in this case onto my wrist, but I could also do it onto my thumb. This is just your 2-arm side motions. And I have it connected on this rope right here. It's just another connection, just have that looped on to the adjusting bolt that goes up there. And of course it goes back through the rollers and up to the 2 levers that are up top. And I have those adjusted so that the release is a snare drag. If I need to do the adjustment for the looped string, then I would want to do the adjustment on the roller up there. You get about 5 or 6 inches of rope you can take up there. And again, you pull the red knob and turn the knob that loosens or rolls up or tightens the rope. From there, you can also kind of adjust with these 2 ropes to kind of get that right sort of attention that you're looking to do. And then of course with your 2 legs, you have the adjusting knobs down there. You can also do it with this looped item here, that rope. You can have that drop down and of course connect to your bass drum or to your hi-hat. And of course of the hi-hat, you would add it to this little coupler right down here. You just kind of put that loop around the end of this adjuster and you can adjust that in kind of a macro way and tie that, in this case, to your hi-hat pull string. So that is kind of a basic setup of how you might get your Performer 4 lever setup going. There's a lot going on, but certainly you can find your own sort of tricks and you can do the rollers in different spots, and you could probably even do like some headbanging drums, or you could have, like I said, dropping that down to your feet and having 3 of these things played with your feet and kind of loosening up or freeing up one of your arms. That's kind of the basics of this. There's lots of different ways you can do it, and this is a DIY crowd, so I hope you do it yourself too and find out what makes your body move for the groove that you find. I'm Pete Farmer, and this is the Farmer BackBeat Performer with 4 levers. Hi, this is the BackBeat In-Depth. Hi, this is Pete Farmer in the shop. We're looking at the BackBeat Farmer.